Robert Kiyosaki's net worth is expected to be at $147 million in 2023, which is not bad given that, according to Forbes, his net worth was roughly $80 million in 2012. With a growth rate of 83.7%, he must have been fairly cautious about maintaining his capital. To put things in perspective, if Kiyosaki had put all of his $80 million net worth into the S&P 500 index back in 2012, he would now be worth an astounding $208.8 million thanks to the index's 161% rise over that period. Of course, we are aware of Kiyosaki's current preference for gold, silver, real estate, and Bitcoin, which we took into account when determining his most recent and updated net worth. However, Robert Kiyosaki's net worth has at least been able to keep pace with historical average yearly inflation rates. American businessman, motivational speaker, and author Robert Toro Kiyosaki gained notoriety as a result of his popularity of his first financial self-help book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. On the strength of popularity of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he created the Rich Dad brand, which now includes financial education businesses that offer books, games, and films that teach people about personal finance and business. However, the Rich Dad brand is licensed out to private organizations that conduct real estate and personal finance workshops. Since Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he has written more than 26 books, including 2 with Donald Trump, a television celebrity and twice impeached president. The main financial ideas and suggestions included in these books are as follows. The significance of financial literacy. How to make money work for you, notably through real estate. How to develop passive income. The distinction between assets and obligations. The amount you maintain is more important than how much money you make. Working for others all of one's life can cause financial difficulties. Unfortunately, Kiyosaki's counsel has come under fire for stressing financial tales that amount to a get-rich scheme and providing scant practical guidance on how to truly thrive in business. In addition to his legal battles with former business partners and the problems with his seminars, he's also been accused of supporting actions that are debatably lawful. Kiyosaki's big break occurred in '97 when he published Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Kiyosaki contrasts his 2 fathers and the lessons he took away from them in a book that is ostensibly based on his youth. The book promotes the importance of financial literacy, financial security, wealth accumulation through assets, and provide income, and refraining from unnecessary expenditure. The Rich Dad, despite being a high school dropout, became a successful entrepreneur and astute investor, whereas the Poor Dad is his birth father, a distinguished professor who worked hard all his life but never attained financial security. Although his existence has been questioned, Kiyosaki's closest friend's father is said to be the Rich Dad in reference. With the help of his wife Kim, Kiyosaki capitalized on the popularity of his book to develop a number of projects and instructional tools related to personal finance, including the Cash Flow board game. The American businessman does business through a number of the firms he owns as well as through franchise agreements with other organizations or people who are paid to utilize his brand name. This includes Rich Dad LLC, Whitney Information Network, Rich Dad Education, and Rich Dad Academy. Kiyosaki and his wife use their YouTube channel, which has millions of members, to advertise their company. They tell their viewers, "This is our story, and today we share with you our formula to millions, the game of the rich. Now we choose to fight academia with capitalism." The estimated $100 million net worth of Robert Kiyosaki. One of Kiyosaki's businesses, Rich Global LLC, declared bankruptcy in 2012, when Learning Annex, one of the entrepreneur's first investors, filed a lawsuit against him for failing to pay a share of speaking engagement income, giving Learning Annex $23.7 million. Robert Kiyosaki is a Japanese-American who belongs to the so-called Yonsei generation. These Japanese Americans were born in the U.S. for the 4th generation. Ralph and Majori Kiyosaki welcomed Robert into the world on April 8, 1947, in Hilo, Hawaii. Together they reared him. Kiyosaki was born by Majori O. Kiyosaki, a licensed nurse, and academic instructor Ralph H. Kiyosaki. The family was shocked by the passing of Majori O. Kiyosaki in 1971 and Ralph H. Kiyosaki in 1991. John is Kiyosaki's younger brother, and Emmy and Beth are his younger sisters. In 1965, Kiyosaki graduated from Hilo High School after completing his studies there. He graduated from the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy in New York with a Bachelor of Science and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Marine Corps. More significantly, Kiyosaki rose to fame as a combat soldier in the Vietnam War. He piloted heavy weaponry-equipped attack helicopters. Kiyosaki enrolled in the University of Hawaii at Hilo in 1973 to pursue a Master of Business Administration while still serving in the military. The program was carried out for the full 2 years. He served in Vietnam between 72 and 73. According to Robert Kiyosaki, his time in the Marine Corps gave him the moral character he required to be successful in business. He received an honorable discharge from the Marine Corps in June 74, the Air Medal in recognition for his service. Robert Kiyosaki, how did he become rich? Academic businesses. Robert Kiyosaki started to experience financial success around 1985. He Accelerated Learning Institute, a business school that specializes on teaching topics, including investing, establishing a business, and corporate social responsibility, was co-founded by Kiyosaki in this year. Despite being Robert's first venture into business education, his company was created on the idea of teaching social responsibility in its students. In 1985, he started the business, and in 1994, he sold it to a bigger company. In the middle of the 90s, Kiyosaki started laying the groundwork for the educational empire that would make him wealthy. It all started with his first book, If You Want to Be Rich and Happy, Don't Go to School, which served as these movement's guide. The book's subtitle gives away its main point, which is that the author urges readers to go into real estate instead of recommending education as a path to success. At the time, Robert and his second wife were both employed in the real estate industry. Kiyosaki established Cashflow Technologies, Inc. in 1997. This business would later serve as the impetus for the successful business career. His wife, Kim Kiyosaki, and his co-author, Sharon Lechter, are also shareholders. This business would eventually acquire and run a number of financial education brands, including the Rich Dad moniker. That same year, Robert Kiyosaki's best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, was published. What is Robert Kiyosaki's annual salary? The question of Robert's income per year or per month is undoubtedly prompted by his existing net worth and rate of increase. Well, based on our study, Robert claims to earn between $1.5 and $2 million per month. Of course, it's challenging to pinpoint these figures in the absence of any formal supporting evidence. Nevertheless, even though we lack Robert Kiyosaki's verifiable income, we do have a fair, rough estimate of how much money he could potentially make each year, excluding his active income sources. The immensely successful American businessman, Robert Kiyosaki, is best recognized for his widely successful financial education programs and publications. Over the years, he's been able to amass an incredible net worth as the creator of numerous businesses, such as Rich Global LLC and the Rich Dad Company, as well as the author of over 26 distinct personal financial publications. Having said that, this article will discuss Robert Kiyosaki's net worth, its potential earning capacity, and a few other details we believe you'll find interesting. So let's get started if you're ready to find out just how wealthy Robert Kiyosaki is. How much money is Robert Kiyosaki worth? Amount of Robert Kiyosaki's wealth. Robert Kiyosaki's net worth is expected to be $147 million in 2023, which is not bad given that, according to Forbes, the net worth was roughly $80 million in 2012, with a growth rate of 83.7%. He must have been fairly cautious about maintaining his capital. To put things in perspective, if Kiyosaki had put all of his $80 million net worth on the S&P 500 index back in 2012, he would now be worth an astounding $208.8 million thanks to the index 161% rise over that period. Of course, we are aware of Kiyosaki's current preference for gold, silver, real estate, and Bitcoin, which we took into account when determining his most recent updated net worth. However, Robert Kiyosaki's net worth has at least been able to keep pace with historical average yearly inflation rates. What is Robert Kiyosaki's annual salary? The question of Robert's income per year or per month is undoubtedly prompted by his existing net worth and rate of increase. Well, based on our study, Robert claims to earn between $1.5 and $2 million per month. Of course, it's challenging to pinpoint these figures in the absence of any formal supporting evidence. Nevertheless, even though we lack Robert Kiyosaki's verifiable income, we do have a fair enough estimate of how much money he could potentially make each year, excluding his active income sources. 4% is a reasonable minimum annual yield to expect on investments given historical returns on safe investments, have typically fallen between the 3 to 5% range annually. This estimate is based on the assumption that Robert Kiyosaki is a wise enough investor to earn an annual 4% yield on his combined $147 million net worth. Robert's annual passive income would amount to about $5.8 million if he were to hypothetically liquidate all of his assets and invest the proceeds entirely in dividend-paying stocks, ETFs, and REITs that offer a low yield of 4%. For semi-retirement, it's not a bad wage.